Good morning. Time is 5:53 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Guess what? We've been talking a lot to the MMTs for the opening bell, but now we are going to do this live for the MMTs as they can understand what their gap ratio is. 5.36 on Netflix. We did tell people from the short of 185 down to the 1.25 area that that would be around profit taking and that the bears would start to cover, and that's how you could, play these volatility gaps now on Netflix again, because there was a big, huge short, and we were even shorting the thing so far above everyone else. I mean, you're talking $185. It was up there at the $300 level, topping out, and that was when the kiss goodbye was on that Netflix. But look at Amazon, 4.24 ratio. I got a price line of a 2.95. We have people that make market on this one right here. Okay, Google, on the other hand, running at about 2.49. And, of course, our wonderful ISRG, which is a nice one to trade. It has a certain amount of volume and a certain wholesale and a certain retail print to it at $1.49. How about that one? BIDU. I'm just kidding. But here it is. Right here. There's a close, 123.40, and there's your ratio gap. Look. Bam. Okay? And you can see the prints go up. What you're looking for today, MMTs, is increased volume on the opening bell. And you want to see where people are going to chase that month-end performance in the buy and sell tape. How will you verify that that's happening? It's called the end-of-the-month portfolio dressing, because you'll be burning to about 100 in the IR, and you'll pull back to 75 or 60 or whatever, but then you're reversing and going right back up in to that direction. And stocks would be breaking off of their price action lines where they don't want to go lower, and you'll just be snapping that buy button. So here's BIDU pre-market gap open up. BIDU, hey, look, it was a great short, man, up there. It was hanging just out of the week. I mean, it's already dropped over $20. Just remember, that one in Signup. Keep your eye on this one. If it pulls back, doesn't want to break below that teeny line and starts to move up right away, that's time to get net long, because that strength is there. On the dip, you'll find out. Look for the top end short on this thing, though. Go up a half a delta, 3/4 delta, a full delta, whatever it is in your platform, and look for it up there. Throw out the limit order ahead of time. All right? So I'm going to throw out a limit order to sell short on buy on this one here. If they run it right up into, let's say, 128.75, I've got a good risk management entry. I put another order out right up there at that 129.70, because if the bears are going to get squeezed, of course they'll be long. That's just going to be where I'm going to want to sell out 2 times the amount. So I'm selling my profit and I'm getting short in one tick. I just want to make sure that people understand how that price action is weighted between the public buyer and seller, and what their involvement is, and where you're going to make a market with your platform, and it'll be very evident. So I will tell people, watch this one. Okay. I also believe I have some. As far as BIDU goes, I want the MMTs to take the screenshot here of the 120 calls and whatnot. And what we are going to do, and that Amazon is cooking up there, I'm going to take the 130 call. No, yeah, I'm going to take the 125 put and see how much premium that they take out on the opening bell. And why is that, MMTs? I can tell you why. Here is the 125 put. This is where its main high market price was at 7.10. Then they close it out at 5.60, and the low was 5.5. But see, that was the close via last Friday, the day before. You can tell where that print is. Now on the gap up, they're going to take out premium. And why? Here, I'll show you why. Because you can see that BIDU closed at 123.40. This is 125.61 by 125.79, and you can see the prints. You can also see that volume at 31,000 pre-market before the markets open up for regular buyer and sellers that come in at that time, that your pre-market buyer and sellers are not too bad at 31,000 shares on a Monday morning, and that they have sold down about $20, and you're going to find where that closes at 123.40, if that holds, they're going to take all the premium out of the 125 put. But then on the flip side, what's going to happen, MMTs, is if you get right back over here and you take the 120 call, okay? So let's take a look at it. Here it is. That's the call. They were down, well, here it was. The high was 8.5, 6.15 ratio in the bid and ask on a 120 call in the money on BIDU. And that the lower wholesale entry with that stock continuing to break higher in its own price action as it is on the gap is at one point the 120 call is going to go up on the opening bell. It's going to make a high, and then when this stock does reverse and during its pullback, then the calls will pull back. That would be the first area of interest as far as the price action is going to work, where that weighting will be with the buyer and the seller, okay? And that gives you the second entry. Options are not to be over, you know, I'm going to sit there and try to get in a bid and ask. When these things open up, hey, there's a market maker technique used to get in here. And it's going to be relative to this BIDU. Put the 120 call in the money and start looking at those prices, because those are going to be the important ones, as they will be. And the price line trade is going to be very, very, very important. We just hit 519. And at 6:01, and the market opens up in 29 minutes. This is the BIDU call and put side of the market that we'll be looking at, okay? Because those names sold down last week, and it's reversal, and we know where the weighting is on the S&P 500. It is now 6:10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Here is, once again, a brief recap. This is the screenshots of the S&P call and puts that MMTs would like to have. I am also going to just recap one more time. I'm going to go through the Amazon one, and it's right here. And so these are the call and the puts, and you want so Amazon's at 227. You're going to be looking at a 225 call and a 230 put. So you're going to be looking even at the 220. You want to look at the yield and the premiums. We'll go over them live. There it is there. Once again, I'm going to go back over here and recap. Here's this Google trade again. And here it is, starting with the 515 put below the market. You got your 930s and your 1022 dates in here, just as you do on all of them. And here are the various strike prices. And once again, in the pre-market, you would take a look. Google's gapping up 4.24. So that means that the call side, you'd be looking to see how much premium that they give the 520 call and the 530 call for 1022, and that $600 call that we're willing to buy if buyers are going to be buying Google going into the earnings season October 13th. Hey, I've got no problem putting a bid in on this one, and I can show you MMTs, you know, they're $4 by 430. The low was 360. We'd already bought these at 430, sold them, I don't know what it was, $7, 680 or something like that. We already made a market here once. We're willing to do that again. So I will tell Rick Goley, put that $600 call up there, because even with the gap up, we can still pay. Put a bid out here. Yeah, it'll be a little bit of a premium. Who cares? Put 3 of them out there on your first pass at 440 on a limit.
4.4.
4.4
For 3 of them.
Yep. And now I'm going to go out of there. Here are the Google calls and puts right here. And you can see that Google's 529. Once again, 525.51. Take a look, Tina. Up and out of the money in the delta ranges. Get those numbers. You've been doing an excellent job in that. Keep that work up. Keep that, and put that limit order up and out of the money there to sell that high. On then when it drops, you'll come out and you'll get in. You're going to watch the 525 put, how much premium they take out of here. That's a 930. And the 529.30 in the money over here, we're going to see how much premium they give. In fact, we're even going to go one step further. That's the 520. What we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to weight this 530 call. It's a 1022 contract. And they were 2450 by 1980 on the low. So they already made a good move right here on the monthly. And this is the weekly, this week on 930. We're just going to watch these two. And we're going to watch the 525 put. And at times we'll be on the 530 put. And the 530 put looks like this right here. 1330 by 1380. I like this down around, there's a market down there between 580 and $6.50. If Google wants to break higher, once it pulls back off its opening high, and it pulls back and it has another big wind of buyers and sellers, then naturally the premium is going to come out of the 530 as well. I'm going to conclude the gap open ratio with MMTs. NFLX leading the way. Signup, once again, Signup and the BIDU. We already went over BIDU in this video. So you have all of it, MMTs. I'm going to launch it to you, all of you now. The opening bell is in 16 minutes. Watch that TQQ bull. 1.00 ratio or higher gap. But listen, if Google's strong, and Apple is going to be strong off of the bottom, let us not forget that Apple trade. Okay? Let us not forget the Apple trade. Let us not forget that going up to 402 and selling short into it, and then going long back up, it's had 835 or 836,000 now. Here it is. And you were up there at 402.5, and you've come back down, and it's all pre-market action. It's the best one with the volume and pre-market to trade. 15 minutes to the opening bell. This one's going to be nice. Here's a $400 call, 930, weekly expiration right here. I'm going to start giving bids out on this one here at about $7.70 by, let's say, 8:10 on my first entry on a limit on a $400 call, opening bell there. And once again, here's that gap open up, and the gap open down. Well, you got Apple 330 now. Lulu, this one's already made a great market. It was down. It walked off the bottom. I said it in pre-market in our speech then. Now, watch that one there. It's got, the bull is down a little bit, nothing big. Gap open up.